Alrighty, we can go ahead and get started then. We have a pretty packed agenda for you all today, so I just wanted to make sure to give time to the presenters and for a Q&A at the end. So I'll go ahead and kick it off here. So welcome everyone, whether this is your first time joining this call or you're a regular attendee. This is now the second official Azure Adaptive Cloud Community Call. Thomas and myself, I believe Leo are here, and will be your hosts or I guess moderators for this call today. So if this is your first time joining this call, just as a quick overview, this call is focused on the Adaptive Cloud Community product and service updates. So this could range anywhere from Azure Arc, Azure Stack HCI, Azure IoT, and AKS. Presenters today will go over their topics, and we will engage in a session where we open the floor up for you all to ask any questions that you may have or any topics that you just want to discuss. Feel free to also drop your questions in the Q&A chat next, I think, to the chat icon at the tippy top of the Teams call. We do have these calls on the first Wednesday of every month. Obviously, this one is the exception because last week on Wednesday was International Workers for some countries outside of the US. But as a reminder, this call is non-NDA, so feel free to publicly discuss all the products and services that are discussed today because they are available to you all currently. Flipping to the next slide here is our GitHub. So this is a public repository, so you all should be able to go to access this now if you would like. Our GitHub page kind of acts as a one-stop shop for any meeting, calendar invites, previous slide decks, adaptive cloud resources, and any other prior recordings, which kind of leads me here to our YouTube page. So as I stated before, this call is recorded and is non-NDA. So this call will also be published to our YouTube page. If you have friends or colleagues that were interested in attending today but couldn't make it, no worries, they can check it out on our YouTube page and catch up there. Also on that same YouTube channel are some other videos that my colleague Leo hosts in almost like a talk show podcast style. He partners with some of the teams here within Microsoft and goes into deep dives and live demos with some of their products. So definitely check that out if you are interested. So some great topics today on the agenda. We can go ahead and kick things off with Francisco, who will be going over the Arc Jumpstart updates.
So yeah, thank you, Kiana. Hello, everyone. My name is Francisco Cabrera. I'm a senior technical program manager here at Lior's team, right on the Azure Arc Jumpstart team. And today I will be presenting a bit of, what are the updates that we have for April. So let's start first with, so we create this a new scenario, right, that is using Azure Accelerator. So we will be talking about ESA lately, but basically what we did is a new scenario where we are showing how to use this technology right on the edge, how you can use this storage on the edge and get replicated directly on the cloud by using this kind of AI scenario with the storage and using AKS Edge Essentials. So we'll talk a bit more about ESA later. Then we actually improve a lot of issues with HCI box. So we have new features and new fixes. So if I go a bit into the detail, what are the new kind of features there? So we add automatic validation and deploy for the deployment of the cluster. So in the past, right, you actually needed to run this deployment in order to validate, right, that the whole kind of setup was correctly. So now we have an option that is a parameter there in order to kind of perform this validation before starting kind of the deployment. We also added automatic upgrade. So in the past, when you actually install, the HCI box with the HCI clusters, there was no, you had to trigger manually the updates, right? Both for, the HCI OS and the, kind of the Windows Server kind of images. So now we also added a parameter that where you can actually trigger all these updates if needed as part of the automation. Then we also updated all the VHDX images. So that applies for both the HCI OS and also the Windows Server 2022. That is part of, kind of the HCI box implementation. And also we fixed there was a bug right when it comes to documentation around how to use Windows Admin Center. So we fixed the documentation and we fixed the diagrams, and right now the way to actually use it, right, you can actually use HCI box from the Azure portal, right, with WAC as a default option. So WAC server is not supported anymore, right, and is no longer included as part of kind of the distribution. So that is when it comes to HCI box. We also had some bug fixing there. So there was some bugs around, AKS Azure Essentials deployment. So we actually make it now. You can make sure that you define the log kind of size when you're doing all the kind of scenarios or any kind of, even Agora, right? Like when we're using AKS Azure Essentials as part of the deployment, you're able to kind of, define the log size in order to avoid issues with, when we're doing like bigger deployments. We also have some updates regarding the Jumpstart assets. So Lior recently last week, I think we published a new kind of set of Jumpstart assets. So, we're still having a lot of community engagement. We're getting a lot of feedback, right, to kind of continue with these diagrams, and we're having a lot of demand for diagrams. Every month we get more and more. So right now with this release, we have something like 51 architecture diagrams, and we have 5 architecture posters. So for this specific release, we added a new Arc extensibility model kind of architecture diagram. We added 3 new ESA individual architecture diagrams, so ESA Edge Storage Accelerator. We added 4 Azure AI video indexer enabled by Arc specific, right, architecture diagrams there. And then for the kind of the flow pattern diagram that we have for AKS Azure Essentials, we added the new ESA option. Just, as FYI, all the posters are being provided in both, PowerPoint and PDF file formats. So, you can go ahead and you pin in whatever you want. And even like we're using those posters for Swag, we're using in our kind of the conference that we're attending. We have those there showing, right, as kind of our default way to show all the kind of the services that we have as part of kind of our team. And then there's also a master deck there that has all the different diagrams as a PPTX. If you want to actually grab them and modify it, you just go ahead and download that directly from our page. So you just can go to our Jumpstart page, and you're gonna have, right, as part of the community there, you can go ahead and you download the zip file that will contain all the content. And then we have also news regarding ArcBox 3.0. So we're working right now to get a new version of ArcBox, which is going to have a ton of new features. So we're going to have infrastructure optimization. So we're working to get all the transition to PowerShell 7. We're also transition to kind of made some optimizations when it comes to package manager. So we're kind of transitioning from Chocolately to Winget. We're also just modifying a bit of how we're doing the configuration, just turning into more a declarative kind of approach, so that we can use this the PowerShell desired configuration approach actually to perform these configuration tasks and make sure those are correctly set up. Then we have a bit of more like refactoring when it comes to the logon script on ArcBox 3.0. So working right now, right, to make it smaller, make it more manageable, working more into modules. Optimizations also when it comes to how we are creating all these the parameterization. So make sure that when you're setting all these parameters, it's more versatile and actually allow the users to specify all the different deployment options. For example, which scenarios inside the ArcBox 3.0 you want to provision. We're improving logging and error handling, right? And then also a lot around testing and validation. So we're working to have like internal testing and validation pipeline so that we make sure that for each of our release, we are able to test all the different options, right? And testing all the matrix. And also we're doing a lot of, kind of optimizing there as part of those testing, optimize the performance, and we'll start looking into different metrics to make sure, right, that if we can actually reduce, for example, the deployment time, and make sure we use the scripts to actually test, the performance and bottlenecks. For example, avoid unnecessary loops, minimize network kind of trips, and kind of use of efficient data structures. So we will be talking a bit more about ArcWork 3.0 probably in the next couple of meetings, but this was just a big picture of what is coming there with ArcWork 3.0. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. So I think that's kind of it from my side. So I'll go back to you, Kiana.
All right, sounds good. Stephen, please.
Hello, my name is Stephen Pepin. I'm a PM on the Edge Storage Accelerator team. Thank you, Francisco, for all the nice call outs in your little spiel. Kiana, if you can hit the next slide. Just wanted to give you an overview today of what ESA Edge Storage Accelerator is. So we are a Kubernetes native Arc extension. So if you have an Arc connected Kubernetes cluster in any location, you can run us. We provide you with a read-write many file system. We're mostly, Edge Storage Accelerator. We are intended to be installed at the edge, and we can provide you some durability of your data at the edge. So if you install us on a multi-node cluster, 3 or more nodes, we'll triplicate your data to make sure that if one of your nodes goes down, you don't lose any of your data. So a nice feature to have, but we also will send all of your data to Blob. So anything you write to the Edge Storage Accelerator will be duplicated to the cloud, and then we run like a cache at the edge. So if you run out of space in ESA, we'll purge stuff that you haven't used in a while. If there's new stuff in, if you're trying to grab files from Blob, we can also take those down for you. We also handle the file to Blob SDK translation. So you write to us, you connect with the CSI driver, you write to us as if we are your local file system, and we'll take care of the Blob SDK management updates to get all your stuff into the cloud. And we're working on different configurable policies for flexibility, and you'll just have to wait for some of those in the future. Kiana, if you can hit the next slide. So this is sort of a diagram of how ESA looks architecturally. So again, on the left here, we have our on-prem or at the edge, depending on how you like to talk about it. So we have our connected Kubernetes cluster. You have your workloads. Everything's file-based. There's our Arc extension. So you're writing to us, and then we take care of that transition from the edge to the cloud. And there's multiple storage destinations here. Blob, ADLS Gen 2, OneLake, and then you can send all that stuff for visualization to Power BI or whatever other dashboarding software you are interested in. So I'll just let this sit for a second so you can take it all in. And then just a quick call out. That's okay. A quick call out. So Francisco had talked about the Jumpstart scenario. This is just a quick overview of what that looks like. So we have a video of some bolts in a factory. The camera is taking video, and we have a script that's looking for defects. And when their defects are found, those still images are sent to ESA, and then those still images are replicated to the cloud. So in the cloud, you can follow along your production line to see the issues and bolts that are not used properly. So all this is available. There's a link in the corner here. I know the deck will be shared. If you want to try it out for yourself, please go ahead. And then our last slide here. This is just an overview about what we're looking like right now. We're technically in limited public preview. So if you'd like access, we have this little questionnaire about your environment and your use cases. We just want to make sure that everyone's going to be super successful in using ESA. And then the documentation is here also. Contact information, there's me. And then we have an ESA support URL as well. So yeah, looking forward to working with you all. Hopefully ESA will be something you can integrate into your use cases and solutions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Hey, everyone. I'm Nathan. I'm the product manager on Azure Arc Site Manager. Kiana, if you want to move to the next slide. So we're super excited to announce Azure Arc Site Manager in public preview. We recently announced this back a few weeks ago in late April. We created Azure Arc Site Manager because we heard from customers that they're oftentimes managing resources across a wide variety of locations. They oftentimes have a wide variety of resources for their business apps and operations. And also, they're oftentimes looking at individual service dashboards to manage updates, alerts, security, and other monitoring areas. So with Site Manager, our goal is to centralize this all into Site Manager. Within the tool, you can create Arc sites to represent your on-premises environments with Azure. And within Site Manager, you can also see connectivity, alerts, and update status across your site. And you can utilize integrated experiences with Azure Monitor, Update Manager, and other relevant Azure services. And a few quick screenshots from the experience. So first, this is the individual site page. In this example, we created a site, and we have Azure Stack HCI, Arc-enabled machines, Arc-enabled Kubernetes, and assets from Azure IoT Operations, all within the site. You can see that you can check the connectivity status, alert status, and update status of any of these resources. And if there were to be an error such as this one, you can click into the connection status, alert status, or update status to further look at remediation of that particular error. Awesome. This is another screenshot from the current experience. This is if you were to create several different sites. You can also see your sites at scale through the UI tools that we have. Again, connection, alert status, and update status are being shown here. Their aggregate status is across your sites, meaning that if one or more resources within the site were to have some type of warning, it would bubble up onto this page, and then you can drill down, essentially figure out what the issue is. Right now, we support connection alerts and updates. Security and health monitoring are both coming soon. Awesome. And yeah, that's awesome. So you can go in today into the Azure portal. It takes pretty much no time at all to create Arc sites, and you can create those Arc sites to represent your on-premises environment. Right now, you can create an Arc site based on a subscription or resource group scope. In the future, you'll be able to create Arc sites based on multiple resource groups or a subset of resources within a resource group or subscription. Our documentation and blog posts are here if you're interested in learning more. In addition, if you do try out Arc sites or if you're just interested in providing feedback or learning more about our roadmap, please fill out the form or just reach out to me directly if you're on this call. I put my email address on here. Awesome. And please feel free to put any questions in the chat too about Azure Arc Site Manager. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. I guess we can move onward to Azure Arc-enabled servers. I'm Arnav from the Arc Server product group. First off, we'd like to start off with a quick round of our local agent updates. So we're up to agent version 40. Excited to announce that we now have support for Oracle Linux 9 as a supported distro. And again, if you have any recommendations or distros that you would want to add support for, please feel free to ping us. This is my email I'll put into the chat right here. We're always looking to figure out what distros and OS our customers are prioritizing. Other focus areas have been improving our error handling with our machine configuration policy, suppressing reboots, fixing some of the agent installation issues that we've detected with installers on our Windows servers, and also modifying the extension package maximum download size associated with the AMA extension, ensuring that that can now be deployed with the latest version on Arc Server. We also wanted to share, and we included this, is this new security guidance for onboarding to Azure Arc with security in mind. A lot of our current focus area continues to be around security, how we can improve the security baselines, built-in hardening, etc., associated with Azure Arc, as well as document capabilities like monitor mode, which allow you to onboard to Arc without opening up specific extensions or connectivity options that might become risk vectors. So we have this new security guidance, and we're continuing to expand our security focus from the Arc Server side. So that's a wrap in terms of our agent updates. Next, I wanted to share some exciting preview opportunities. So one is our run command capability continues to be in public preview. We recently introduced CLI support as well beyond our REST APIs. And so with run command, you're able to remotely and securely configure and run scripts on your Arc-enabled servers for general app management, for security purposes, for networking purposes and troubleshooting, etc. Some of the use cases we've seen is customers that are using run command to upload, for example, logs and errors to their blob storage in Azure, which can help with troubleshooting scenarios. But it's really a myriad of scenarios it opens up with this remote scripting. And again, this is public preview. So today you're able to look at our documentation. We have CLI and REST API support. So you're able to test that out and make sure that meets your demands. Very similar to the run command available for Azure VMs. If you do have feedback for that, we have that ak.ms link, ak.ms, run command public preview form. If you want to get in touch with the product group or you have any areas or you'd want to see continued investment or fixes in. Cool. So that's one public preview. And the other piece we wanted to just highlight is we know that a lot of customers are using Azure Arc for ESUs. We're excited to announce that we're going to have an upcoming transition scenario to be released in the next few months. And this transition scenario enables customers that have already purchased extended security updates through volume licensing for year one to transition to an Azure Arc-based ESU offer for year two and beyond using their existing invoice ID or invoice number. So this scenario allows customers that, if you didn't have enough time to plan for Arc for your ESUs for year one, you can still go there year two and you won't get charged for that first year. You won't get backbilled if you make the transition and you claim your volume licensing entitlements there. So that's another capability that we're excited to announce. We've included a blog for that as well for folks to start planning and preparing for that deployment. All right. Final opportunity is we actually are, from the Azure Arc platform, interested in speaking to customers that are using Argo CD today. As you may be aware, we have a Flux offering for Azure GitOps, Microsoft GitOps across AKS and Arc-enabled Kubernetes, and we're looking to also explore bringing in Argo support as well to give optionality from a GitOps perspective. We would really love to get customer feedback on this. And so if you are a current Argo customer, either email me or reach out on this, this form, Microsoft Argo feedback, to get in touch with the Arc platform team about Argo opportunities. So with that, that's a wrap from my side. I know that's a lot of different previews and opportunities to sign up, and the latest from our agent side. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Hi all, my name is Charlie Lagervik and I'm a project lead for Project Symphony. Project Symphony started off as an internal incubation project and was designed by Haishi Bai as the lead architect for this. And it's been used internally at Microsoft for many of our Edge projects. You might have seen that we did an open source project named Can Studio a little more than a year ago. Symphony is the component that drives that orchestration capability for Symphony. And over the last year or two, we've also been using Symphony for internal customer engagements, particularly where customers have challenges with managing multiple deployment manifests for heterogeneous Edge environments. And we got really strong customer feedback that this might be a capability that customers want to use also for their deployments when they manage their Edge solutions. So earlier this year, we contributed Project Symphony to Eclipse Foundation. And Symphony is an open source Edge toolchain project that enables both developers and operators to define solution manifests that consist of multiple components that are managed by different toolchains in these Edge environments. We've seen some really exciting customer feedback already on this project, and customers are really excited about having an opportunity to define solution manifests that cross these different toolchains. Symphony also enabled cross-toolchain state seeking and workflow capabilities on the edge. So if you are managing different toolchains on your edge environments, Symphony can help you with the state management across these different toolchains. And the workflow capabilities can be used to define things like deploying to different environments, and also to do things like on-edge approval for your deployments. Next slide, please. So if you're interested to join this project, we are more than welcoming contributions. It's easy to get started. If you want to learn more, we have documentation in what we call the Symphony book, so please read up on that. If you want to get started with Symphony, you can download Symphony today, and there's a Get Started guide that I added the links to this slide. We are also going to do our first in-person meeting, which is going to be broadcasted on Teams as well and recorded for later consumption. If you are attending Build, or if you are in the Redmond area here in Washington State, US, on May 20th in the afternoon, we're going to host our community meeting. So it would be super exciting to see people show up there as well and join this project. If you want to contribute to these projects, there's multiple ways you can contribute. We have a list of open issues as we are maturing this project that you could work on. We are also very interested to get your feedback and encourage you to add new issues into this project. And we also want to encourage discussions on where we see good alignment with Project Symphony. And if you think this is an exciting project, we also are welcoming stars, so we get more attraction to this project. Next slide, please. As we've seen this interest for a toolchain orchestration, and particularly around Project Symphony on the edge, our UX research team is about to start a UX research. So we are looking for participants for this research study. So if you are interested to share your thoughts or opinions around both Project Symphony, but also on toolchain orchestration on the edge, please sign up for this study. And in the community meeting on the 20th, we also gonna do a hands-on lab together with research. So if you're participating there will also be an opportunity to participate and help us make Project Symphony even better. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, I think we finished quite a bit early today, but I think that's all we have for the agenda. So just a reminder, our next call will begin on Wednesday, or the first Wednesday of next month. So it will go back to the first Wednesday. I know, like I said, this call was the exception, but yeah, next Wednesday, same time, that would be June 5th. So then we can go ahead to the next slide here, and we can open the floor up to you all for any questions that you may have. I know that I saw a couple questions, a couple hands raised throughout the meeting, so feel free to raise your hand. We can take questions in the order, I guess, that the hands come up, or if you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself and just want to post in the Q&A chat, that's fine as well. But we all welcome questions now. There are no questions. I feel like there has to be questions because I saw hands raised at some point, but maybe the questions were answered later in the chat. Okay, looks like we have a taker. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to roll back to the last presenter in terms of Project Symphony. Can you elaborate a little bit more and maybe share some use cases where the project is actually, you're running it currently? I'll tell you why, because we've got a couple of developer communities that sit out of South Africa, and that's where I'm chatting you from, that perhaps can leverage some of the tech that you're sharing.
Sure, and super excited if you're interested in this. So, as I said, we use this internally in both customer engagements and also for other open source projects like Can Studio. So Symphony as a toolchain orchestrator provides flexibility, and it also makes it easier for any solution developer either internal to a customer or as a ISV that provides to different customers. So some of the communities that already have picked up Symphony is the software-defined vehicle, and the Symphony Eclipse project is actually published under the software-defined vehicle group under Eclipse, where Symphony is being used to orchestrate the different components that are part of a software-defined vehicle. So in this community, there's different vendors that have different standards for the different components that build up a car. And those different components, you need to both verify them in early development phases, and Symphony is being used as an orchestrator both for setting up those developer environments, the testing environments, but then also to manage a fleet of devices where you do updates for these cars. So that's one example. Other examples is also within manufacturing, where you might have a lot of legacy systems that your modern cloud native applications have a dependency on, and you need to manage the state across these different tool chains that exist in this environment. And based on the heterogeneous environments that you usually see in these edge deployments in factories, for example, Symphony can help you define one solution manifest that you can then contextualize and deploy to the different edge environments. So that's another example. But we see very creative use cases already now, even though we are very early in this phase from retail and from other industries as well. And that's really why we decided to go open source with Symphony, because we believe that there's a common need that is independent of which industry or in which edge environment you deploy this when it comes to orchestration. But we then believe that the community will extend these capabilities for their particular needs.
All right, perfect. Thanks for that, Charlie. I think if it's possible, could I maybe actually reach out to you? I actually work for one of the CSP partners in South Africa. And then we actually got quite a big community that actually plays in the ISV and the edge space. So it'd be really cool if we could look at that as a value add to them.
Yes. Exciting.
I'll grab the details and then I'll ping you. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the question. Any other questions before we end the call? Now's your chance. Any storage questions, our Jumpstart questions, anything we covered today, or if you have any questions in general about things that you would like to see covered in the future or previous presentations, feel free to raise your hand. If not, then we can go on to the next slide, which is, just thank you for attending today. You can go ahead and connect with us through our GitHub, through that aka.ms link there. Again, you can find all of our resources, our meeting invites, everything in between there. And then, like I said, if you have any feedback or any topics that you would like to see covered in the future, feel free to click that link. That'll lead you to a form, and then you can submit some feedback there. But if we don't have anything else, then I'll go ahead and close this call. Again, thanks for attending. Feel free to join our Teams channel. The link can again be found in our GitHub, and there you can interact with any questions that you might have. We have MVPs on that channel as well as regular Microsoft employees. So thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you so much for the beautiful session.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.